Hello friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. I am literally so fucking excited to make this Fangirl Fridays video because this has been a video in the making since August. So I made a Fangirl Fridays video about 3 months ago where I did rapid fire reviews of my most recent reads, and originally I was going to include a little book called Legendborn in that video. And then I read Legendborn, and it kind of changed my life. It broke my brain, altered my brain chemistry. Like, I literally just like stared at the wall for like a good, like honestly probably like 20 minutes after I finished Legendborn, because I just needed like to take like a moment or 20 to process the just sheer incredibleness that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. So over the course of reading Legendborn, like once I was like really starting to get into it, and honestly I was like into it like from the jump. Like oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I realized that I was like, I'm gonna need to like dedicate a whole Fangirl Fridays video to this book, and honestly I'm probably going to need to dedicate at least 2 videos to this book because I have a lot of things to say. There is so much ground to cover, and so that's what we're doing today. Today is going to be part 1 of my Legendborn video, and part 2 will be coming out 2 Fridays from now, so come back on January 12th for that second part. Also, this is your spoiler warning for the video. I'm going to be talking about all sorts of Legendborn spoilers throughout this video and the next video, though I do feel like part 2 will probably, of the 2 videos, will probably be the more spoiler heavy one, just because that one's going to be like specifically about the characters. So lots of spoilers there, but this is your general spoiler warning in case you are interested in reading this book, and you very much should. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna go over the basic premise of Legendborn as like a refresher, so that's really your only like guaranteed like spoiler-free section of this video. So if Legendborn has been sitting on your TBR for a while and you've been looking for a reason to read it, go read it and then come back, thank me later. And so without further ado, let's fucking talk about Legendborn. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, but before we get into anything else, first I just have to make some commotion for this gorgeous fucking cover. Like, are you kidding me? It looks so good. Like, Brie looks fantastic. She looks so good. The colors are so good. I love like the style of the title. I love to run my fingers over it just because it kind of like protrudes a little bit from the cover. I'm sorry, I'm such a fucking nerd. It's so fucking beautiful. According to the acknowledgements, the cover was done by Laura X or Eeks, not really sure how to say that, and Hillary Wilson. Y'all fucking killed it, knocked it out of the park. Holy shit, like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Legendborn cycle is a fantasy series by Tracy Deonn. It was recently announced by Tracy that there will be 4 books in the series, which is so exciting for me. So Legendborn is the first book that came out in 2020. There's also the sequel, which is Bloodmarked, that came out in 2022. The 3rd book, Oathbound, is coming out in 2025. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't even read Bloodmarked yet, but I'm so excited. I'm gonna read Bloodmarked next year. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Anyway, and then the 4th currently untitled book, I don't know when that will be coming out, but there will be a 4th book. So, oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm really trying to like be informative, but I'm also just a fangirl. I'm sorry. Legendborn follows the story of 16-year-old Brie Matthews. When we meet Brie, she has just lost her mother in a tragic accident. We then fast forward a bit to Brie attending a residential program for gifted high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill. Brie initially believes that this early college program will be the perfect escape from her grief over her mother's death. That is until she witnesses a demon attack her first night on campus. This attack is Bree's first introduction to the secret Legendborn Society. This society is made up of Chapel Hill students whose purpose is to hunt these demons. Because Bree wasn't supposed to witness this attack, a teenage mage who refers to himself as a Merlin erases Bree's memories of this incident. Or at least he thinks he did. Because not only does Bree remember this incident, it's through this incident that she is able to uncover her own unique magic and recall a repressed memory involving her mother's death. Bree is able to remember that there was a Merlin that was at the hospital when Bree's mother died. And now that Bree knows that there is more to her mother's death than what she was originally led to believe, she decides that she is going to infiltrate the Legendborn Society as a new recruit to uncover the truth about her mother's death. To do so, Bree recruits Nick Davis, Bree's peer mentor, as well as a self-exiled Legendborn who has a personal grudge against the society. Bree and Nick's reluctant partnership allows them to uncover some of the dark secrets of the Legendborn Society while also growing closer to each other. But when Bree learns that there is this magical war that is coming that the Legendborn are trying to prevent, or at least be prepared for, Bree must then decide whether she's going to use her magic to tear down the Legendborn Society or join them in their fight. That was basically the synopsis that's on the back of the book. Now we are officially heading into spoiler territory. So as I said before, Legendborn is set at UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Fun fact, my brother actually almost went to college in North Carolina. It wasn't Chapel Hill, I think it was in Charlotte. It was some variation of UNC, I don't really remember. That was a long time ago. That was like 6 years ago. UNC Chapel Hill is a predominantly white school. That's going to be very important when we talk more about Bree later. The structure of Legendborn Society is based on the mythos of King Arthur. If you don't know, King Arthur is a legendary king of Britain. There's no proof or historical records that King Arthur ever actually existed, and his character was largely developed through Welsh mythology. There is a lot of Arthurian lore and legend that exists, but basically what you need to know for Legendborn is that King Arthur had something called the Knights of the Round Table. These were the strongest knights in King Arthur's kingdom, and they lived in Camelot, Arthur's castle. Depending on the story, there are said to be between 12 and 150 Knights of the Round Table, but in Legendborn there are 12, 13 if you include Arthur. In this first book, the confirmed Knights of the Round Table are Sir Lancelot, Sir Tristan, Sir Lamorak, Sir Kay, Sir Owain, Sir Bors, and Sir Gawain. Every member of the Legendborn Society, also known as the Order of the Round Table, also sometimes known as just the Order, descends from one of these bloodlines, and each of the bloodlines is ranked in order, I guess, of like importance to like Arthur, I think. I don't actually remember. But it's something like that, I think. So Arthur is ranked first, Lancelot is ranked second, Tristan is third, Lamorak is fourth, Kay is fifth, Owain, I'm not really sure again, is seventh, Bors is 11th, and Gawain is 12th. The Order has been around since the 6th century, which is when, according to legend, Arthur allegedly reigned, and their job is to hunt the Shadowborn, otherwise known as demons, and protect the Onceborn, otherwise known as humans. There are 9 types of roles within the Order, and I'm going to read to you guys their descriptions from the Legendborn wiki. Thank you to whoever made this wiki, it's very helpful. So starting with the Scions. The Scions are the oldest heirs of each Knight of the Round Table. If called, they gain their Knight's enhanced abilities and affinity for Aether, which is basically their magic. Also, I don't know if it's Aether or Ether. I think it's Aether, because it starts with an A. Anyway, so if awakened, they suffer from abatement, which is basically the price, the cost of being able to use magic in Legendborn Society, which means that they will die by age 35 because it really takes a toll on your body. Then there are the Squires. Squires are the Scions' chosen battle partners. They compete in a tournament as pages for the chance of being offered a squireship. So if a Squire is chosen by a Scion, they will gain all of the abilities that their Scion has once the Scion is called. and they will be magically bonded to their scion, but that also means that they will suffer abatement if their scion is called. So that's fun. Next, we have pages. Pages are chosen by existing scions or squires to compete for the title of squire. Next, we have vassals. Vassals are interesting because they are once-born families who have essentially pledged themselves to one of the original 13 Legendborn bloodlines. And so they know about Aether, and they basically provide resources to the line that they have pledged themselves to. Then you have lieges, who are former scions or squires. Then you have viceroys, who are basically in charge of overseeing a specific chapter within the Legendborn Society and its territories. Next, we have Merlins. Merlins use their magic to defend the order and are responsible for closing the gates that the demons come through. They are descendants of Merlin and part demon. Then, as a subset of Merlins, you have the King's Mages. So a King's Mage is the most powerful Merlin child of their generation, and so they are selected to take the King's Mage oath, where they are bound in a formal ceremony to a scion of Arthur. And so for the rest of that Merlin's life, they are basically bound to, they are the scion's sworn protector until death. Then you have the Mage Seneschals. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember how much these are mentioned in the first book. I don't think they are, but I know a little bit about them for Bloodmarked. But I'm going to read about them anyway. I'm just going to read very briefly about them. So they are the 3 most powerful Merlins. Each of them reports to a regent, and they make up half of the High Council of Regents, with the other half being made up of the regents themselves. And then finally, we have the regents. So the regents rule the order when there is no awakened scion of Arthur. When there is an awakened scion of Arthur, that scion becomes basically like the king of Legendborn society. So the regents, they have functional control, but are oath-bound to comply to the Legendborn demands. And they assign cases to Merlins, they hold trials, and they have the capacity to disappear people. So that's fun. We love the regents. There's also this group called the Order of the Rose, which is essentially the subset of the order. It was founded centuries ago when women were not allowed to become pages or squires or scions. Modern day members of the Order of the Rose are mostly mothers or former pages who still want to support the various chapters of Legendborn society. So a completed round table consists of 26 Legendborns. So you have the 13 scions and then their respective squires that they have bonded with. Also, I don't think I mentioned this before, but basically to be awakened as a scion basically just means that you get called by the original knight of your bloodline, and they're like, hey, here are your powers, because the world is gonna end. So you need to be able to fight. Arthur and Merlin, a sorcerer and member of the Round Table, were very concerned about what would happen to the world if the Order of the Round Table ever ceased to exist. So Merlin created something called the Spell of Eternity. The spell essentially binds the souls of the original members of the Round Table with the awakened scion of their respective bloodlines. So again, it's kind of like the passing of the torch of like the powers throughout each generation. So the order has a bunch of like special events ranging from ceremonies to world-ending events. So let's get into those. So we have the initiation ceremony, which happens at the beginning of each school year, and this is where pages take the oath of fealty. This oath makes the pages official members of their chapter. It grants them sight, which is the ability to see Aether and the demons. And typically, scions select pages from the vassals that have already pledged to their respective bloodline. Then there are the trials. The trials test which pages will become squires. Usually these trials take like several months, but due to Camlan approaching, in the book, they shorten this period to 6 weeks, and then they shorten it to 3 weeks after Nick gets attacked. Then there's the selection gala, which is this big fancy event where the scions officially announce which pages they have chosen to be their squires. The newly appointed squires take the colors and sigils of their scion, and then everyone who doesn't make the cut gets mesmered, so they get their memories altered. and they get booted out. And then there's Camlin, which is basically the end of the world, where a completed round table with all 26 awakened Legendborns engage in a basically like all-out war with all the demons. Also, if a fully awakened descendant of Arthur is killed during Camlin, then the power of the Legendborns is gone forever. So that's fun. There are several different kinds of oaths that exist in Legendborn society. Oaths basically draw on aether from the air, so the oath essentially becomes a part of the person. There's the oath of fealty, which we talked about before. If the order thinks that you are worthy, you will be granted sight. There's the oath of service, which is the oath that merlins and squires take to serve the order. There's the King's Mage oath, which we talked also a bit about before, which is when the most powerful Merlin child is bound to the child scion of Arthur. And then there's the Warrior's Oath. This oath is what bonds the scions to their squires, so that the squires then have access to all of the powers of the scion's bloodline. I'll admit that it definitely did take me a bit to get all of the order stuff, but once I got it, I was locked in, bro. Like, this is exactly the kind of like fantasy world building shit that I love, that I am such a sucker for. I know that some people have some complaints about like the way that certain information about like the world building is conveyed feels a little bit info dumpy, and I can see where those people are coming from, but to be fair, I feel like it's not, at least for me, it didn't really bother me that much, because I felt like, considering the fact that like it's such a short timeline of like Bree like joining the order and having to like basically go through the trials and basically have to learn everything about Legendborn society in the matter of weeks, Nick is basically like, okay, here's this and here's this and here's this and also this, and so like Bree needs to learn a lot. So I can kind of forgive the info dumpy parts. And as someone who grew up loving Percy Jackson, Legendborn just in general gives off so much like Percy Jackson vibes, and I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. I think actually, I don't remember what part, but I'm pretty sure that at some point, like, Bree actually makes a reference to Percy Jackson in the book, and I was just like, ah! I'm like, oh my god, I love it. I love that, like, that kind of almost, like, subtle nod. Because they are kind of similar. They're very, very different, but there are some similarities if you're familiar with both franchises. I want to be clear that while I don't love the Order can suck my dick. I hate the Regents. Like, I already hate them from this book, and I from what I understand, it does not get better in Bloodmarked. So that will be interesting. But even though I very much despise the Regents and how the Order functions, I love how Tracy has crafted this world. She has done such a good job. Oh my god, it's literally just so good with the Legendborns and the Root Crafters. And when we find out about the relationship between the Legendborns and the Root Crafters and how the Order has been hunting the Root Crafters for like decades, like just every reveal like landed so perfectly. I love how transparent we are about how the fact that Legendborn society is like really fucked up, because literally like even members within like Legendborn society, like Whitty and Greer and Nick, like have all like in their own way at some point like acknowledged the fact that like the way the Legendborn society functions is quite cult-like. Like it's very like they're and I just love that Tracy is like full on like, yeah, Legendborn society is fucked up. Like there are some cool parts, there are some cool aspects, but like overall, if we're looking at the full picture, there's some fucked up shit going on here. Literally both the reveals of Nick and Sel's moms getting taken by the Order, that shit got me so fucking mad. I was so heated, my blood was boiling, like, oh my god. I'm like, oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Like, you want to piss me off? Traumatize some little kids. That'll fucking piss me off, man. And like the principles of Aether or Bloodcraft is literally rooted in fucking colonizer behavior. Like the Legendborns are essentially stealing magic that doesn't belong to them. Again, just every reveal is so smart and so effective. And it's just, oh my god, it's so so good. And I just love the contrast between Legendborn society and the Root Crafters, because Root Crafters and Root are the complete antithesis to Legendborn society and Bloodcraft. Root is all about taking what you need and then returning it once it's served its purpose, because the Root Crafters don't believe that root belongs to any one individual person or persons. Rootcraft is much more of a collaboration between the Root Crafters and their ancestors, the black folks who created Root, whereas for the Legendborns, they're just like, this power is mine, it belongs to me. What I'm about to read to you is from the Legendborn wiki. So the heart of Rootcraft is protection from those who would harm the user, and if they do, healing so that they can survive, resist, and thrive. The ancestors control the amount of power a root crafter has access to. Patricia, Bree's therapist, explains that they can't turn them on and off like a tap. Rootcraft is nowhere near as powerful as the magic used by the Legendborn, but it is far less dangerous, and it won't take such a toll on the caster, allowing them to live long and happy lives. There are 6 branches of Root, which also I just find funny because, you know, branch, root, trees. I don't know, I just think it's fun. So there are 6 branches of Root. So first we have the Wild Crafters. Wild Crafters can manipulate the energy found in growing things like plants, herbs, and trees. Wild Crafters borrow power from their ancestors in order to use the energy of plants. That power is finite because the living energy of plants is finite, and their ability to operate as a vessel is finite as well. Next, we have Readers. Readers can see people's auras and thus their emotions, intentions, and abilities. Auras are a person's personal energy that reflect the state of their spirit. Auras look like a faint sort of fog or thin mist, and readers can only see Root if they ask their ancestors to lend their eyes, and only for a short time. Next, we have Memory Walkers. Memory Walkers can astrally project themselves into the memories of their ancestors, who they can interact with in a limited capacity. This branch of Root allows practitioners to work memories by understanding their energy and power over the present day. They can't see Root, but they can feel it. A memory walk is sort of time travel into a memory of a person's ancestor. It's uncommon for someone outside the family to be brought along for a walk. And a memory walker is an observer only. The people in the memory can't see or hear them. Next, we have healers, which is pretty self-explanatory, but healers use Root to heal others and themselves. They are called root doctors or herbalists or granny women. Next, we have prophets, also pretty self-explanatory. Prophets use Root to see the future. They can only see Root if they have asked their ancestors to lend their eyes, also only for a short time, similarly to readers. And lastly, we have mediums. Mediums can channel the dead and be channeled by the dead. Mediums like Bree can use special abilities like possession and ancestral stream. Possession is when mediums channel a spirit forward to the living, like how Bree gets possessed by her grandma. And then with the ancestral stream, which I'll talk more about, I'll go into more detail when we talk about Bree specifically, it is this incredibly chilling navigation of DNA memory that connects the Root Crafter to their ancestors' memories. And oh my god, that sequence in the book literally had me in tears by the end of it. It was so powerful and moving, and it was written so differently in such a beautiful way in comparison to the rest of the book. Like, I want to make it clear, all the writing in the book is so incredible, but the section of the ancestral stream is just so, like, it's so different from the entire rest of the book, and it just, it was so effective. It was so, I've never read anything like it. It was just so incredible. All right, that's all I have for part 1 of my Legendborn video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video because I had so much fun making it. I love this book so much. Come back for part 2 on January 12th. I can't wait for you guys to see it and see me nerd out and gush about the characters. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.